It's very early in the season, of course, but not early enough to realize that a couple teams may be regretting some of their offseason moves. So with that said, we'll go over 2 teams that may be having buyer's remorse already, and if you feel I left someone out, let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. First, I have the New England Patriots. They let Jacoby Myers walk this offseason. Myers back in 2019 was an undrafted free agent out of NC State, and during that time had 3 seasons of over 700 yards. He was very productive, especially for being a UDFA. On March 14th, the Raiders signed Jacoby Myers to a 3-year deal for $33 million. A day later, on March 15th, the Patriots signed Juju SmithSchuster for 3 years, $25 million. While Myers cost a bit more and had $5 million more in guaranteed money, a lot of people were shocked that the Patriots let Myers go. Both guys play similar roles in the offense as both were slot receivers, but apparently the market for Jacoby Myers was not that great. It feels like if the Patriots really wanted him, they could have got him back. Instead, Myers went to Vegas and joined his former offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, from his time with the Patriots. Right before the start of this 2023 season, NFL insider Albert Breer had some doubt about Juju Smith-Schuster's long-term health. Juju, for the past couple years, as we know now, has had some knee problems, which gives us a good explanation as to why he could not find a long-term deal last offseason at the age of 25. Albert Breer went on to say, Juju Smith-Schuster's knee is a mess, and that thing could explode at any point, so you almost have to keep an extra receiver because of that. And in week 1, during the Patriots' tight battle with the defending NFC champion Eagles, Smith-Schuster only had 4 catches for 33 yards, but more alarming, he only played 54% of the team's offensive snaps, and their wide receiver 1 Devontae Parker was out too. On the other hand, Jacoby Myers in his first game with Las Vegas had 9 catches for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was with leaving the game early with a concussion. During the offseason, I figured that would be more of a lateral move, but if Juju's knee does not hold up throughout the season, and they're not playing him much already, then why let Jacoby Myers walk? I just feel like as Myers continues to have a good year this year, which he probably should, it seems like New England's definitely going to regret this at some point. My last potential regret is another wide receiver, this time the Los Angeles Chargers. Back in April in the draft, they took Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver out of TCU, 21st overall. He was taken the pick after Jackson Smith-Njigba, who went to the Seattle Seahawks. The next 2 picks after Johnston was taken were also wide receivers, meaning that 4 wide receivers went in a row. First it was JSN, then it was Quentin Johnston, then it was Zay Flowers to the Baltimore Ravens at 22 overall, and then at 23 overall, the Vikings took Jordan Addison. Johnston is your prototypical X-receiver standing at 6'4", 215, and while his stature was great and he could catch a deep ball with the best of them, there wasn't much else he brought to the table and a bunch of questions as well. His ability to get separations questionable, his lack of physicality despite being a big receiver is definitely puzzling, and he definitely could be better at the catch point as well as catching in traffic. In his first game on Sunday, a shootout against the Miami Dolphins, Johnson only had 3 targets for 2 catches and 9 yards. He only played 22 offensive snaps, which was 27% of the offensive snaps. That was 30 less snaps than Joshua Palmer. And I've always liked Palmer, he's a solid receiver, but if your first round pick is not playing over him, then why the hell did you draft him? Palmer is 6'1", 210 in his 3rd year. He had a pretty good year last year, 72 catches, 769 yards, and 3 touchdowns, but that's what makes this pick even more puzzling for the Chargers. Maybe it was a panic pick because Mike Williams and Keenan Allen missed time last year, but you already have Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston, which is kind of redundant. They're pretty much the same type of receiver. Of course, Keenan Allen's not going to sit out. I mean, he's 31, but still has some good years left in him. And as I just mentioned, Joshua Palmer beat out Quentin Johnston for the 3 spot. So as the wide receiver 4 for a win now team, I mean, you kind of have to question what the Chargers were thinking. And speaking of the other receivers taken after him, they are off to a great start. Zay Flowers in his first game had 10 targets, 9 receptions for 78 yards, and 2 rushing attempts for 9 yards. He also played 84% of the Ravens' offensive snaps. Jordan Addison, on the other hand, in Minnesota, had 6 targets, 4 catches for 61 yards, and his first career touchdown. And he could have played way more over a guy like KJ Osborne, but for some reason the Vikings like to really give their young receivers some time before giving them a lot of snaps. But Addison still played more than Quentin Johnston. He had 56% of his team's offensive snaps. But then again, they did the same thing with Justin Jefferson during his rookie year, so I'm sure Addison's time will be soon. For Zay Flowers, he's been killing it ever since training camp. There were clips coming out pretty much daily daily of Zay Flowers making cornerbacks look absolutely silly. And sure, Flowers is smaller, listed at 5'9", 182, but his ability to not only just get open, but then be dangerous with the ball in his hands, it just projects much better to the NFL. Addison's a bit bigger, listed at 6 feet tall, 175 pounds, and maybe lacks the high ceiling of some of the other players in this draft. However, Addison's probably a safe bet to be a really good number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. And for a team like the Chargers that already have 2 great wideouts in front of him, that would have made a lot of sense. Between his time at Pittsburgh and USC, Addison's had the privilege of playing with some elite quarterbacks like Kenny Pickett and of course Caleb Williams, and he still put up great numbers every year in college. In his sophomore season, he had 100 catches, almost 1,600 yards, and 17 touchdowns. As a junior in 11 games, he had 59 catches for 875 yards and 8 touchdowns. It's very easy to overthink these things and get draft picks wrong. About half the first round picks bust anyway, but in this case, I just feel like the Chargers were trying to be too cute and be the smartest guys in the room, because I think by consensus, most people thought that Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison were definitely safer picks and possibly just better players than Quentin Johnston. We'll see how it plays out. They're definitely still very young and have 1 NFL game under their belts, but I feel like as opposed to the Chargers, the Vikings and Ravens love what they've seen so far from their rookie wide receivers. That's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, kind of a new idea for this video. Leave in the comments anyone you think I left out, and I will talk to you guys next time.